one of the most interesting aspects of Windows 8 for developers is the addition or the inclusion in Windows 8 of what's called the Windows Store. And now Microsoft's really encouraging the developers to get out there and develop some apps to sell on the Windows Store. And this is getting a whole lot of attention, and Microsoft is doing everything they can to actively encourage developers to start to think up applications and do them, and we'll talk about that more in resources. What I'm going to do here is this video and maybe 3 others, I want to just explore this new aspect of the Windows operating system, very, very similar to what Apple's done with their App Store on their mobile platforms. Microsoft's now doing the same thing. It is basically an App Store for the Windows operating system. Now, what's involved with actually developing for the Windows Store platform? Well, the first thing you need to do, let's go 50,000 foot view, and then we'll kind of drill into these just a bit in some separate videos here. First of all, you need to develop your app. Then you need to submit it to Microsoft. There's a lot of things it has to meet and comply with. We'll talk about that later. And then you just simply wait for downloads to occur and for your bank account to fill up with money, right? 3 easy steps. That's all that's involved. Well, to submit your app to Microsoft, it requires a store account. So you'll have to go in, create a store account, and keep in mind that any app that you put on that store has to be approved by Microsoft. Now, what you're going to do is you'll have to have a token to be able to put something onto the store. And you'll have to build your app, submit it to Microsoft. Somebody will review it, send you a list of things that should be changed, suggestions they would make or whatever. But at some point there, you'll finally get everything worked out, and or you may have it worked out from the get-go, and you'll get a token, and you can then put your app up there. Now, according to Microsoft, they got to be careful here. You can't download a bunch of junk that locks machines up and frustrates customers. So your app, first of all, must offer unique creative value to customers. It must be fully functional. There can't be anything up there, this functionality coming soon, under construction, none of that kind of stuff. You cannot just display ads to people. All right, so the purpose of your app can't be just to advertise something else. And any ads that you do put in there must comply with Microsoft's content policies. And you cannot put any kind of ads in the tiles that live out there on the start page. And you'll see all this when you jump out there. Now, notice Microsoft's real big about this. The app must behave predictably. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting. On what Microsoft considers a low-power computer, and you will see it in the documentation out there, your app must launch from the time you choose it. Of course, it's going to be a Metro app. From the time you choose it out there on the start screen, you have 5 seconds for this app to be up and running. And it has to suspend in 2 seconds or less. So Microsoft's really driving hard for functionality, consistency, speed, and so forth. Then once you've got it up there and you're ready to sell it, here's the fine print. And this has been bouncing all over the place as we have moved through the various beta versions leading up to RTM on Windows 8. You must pay a developer fee to place apps in the Windows Store. Now, at the time that I'm doing the video here, and keep in mind we're between RTM and actual final release of the product out there in the consumer environment, this fee is $99. Now, that thing can be waived at certain times. It can be increased, decreased. Who knows what's going to happen, but as of right now, it's $99. Some of the really fine print that you'll see when you dig into the documentation on developing these apps is you have to digitally sign your app, and it has to be one particular kind of certificate that's sold by VeriSign. Now, a lot of people are really screaming about being forced to buy a certain kind of certificate from VeriSign and so forth. You can't use an existing digital certificate to code sign your app. And this is going to run you roughly about another $99. Okay, so you're pretty much looking at about $200 at this point. Keep in mind, my numbers may be totally wrong by the time you get this course. But again, they've been bouncing around a little bit. So just understand it's not totally free. But I'm hoping to see Microsoft really pull these things down and give everybody a pretty good shot at just writing good code. Make it about the good code and put it up there and sell it. So that's the overall view of developing apps. And the good news is you can develop your own apps. You just have to build them to Microsoft specs. They have to behave properly, and then you can put them out there and make some really good money. I've had students before in the past on the Apple iOS platform that were making thousands of dollars a month with apps that they were putting up there. So anyway, a great way to develop and make some money pretty quickly off of the fruits of your labors.